Many of us thought that Rockstar with its GTA 6 release will put gaming prices on a new pedestal. But Nintendo did it first. Recently, Nintendo did a long 1-hour presentation where they presented new games, their Nintendo Switch 2, and all the cool features that surround the new release on June 5th of this year. And to be honest, the presentation was really awesome. Even I have an urge right now to buy a Nintendo Switch 2 because all of the new games and the upgrades of games on Nintendo Switch 2 are absolutely amazing. They started to get concerned about FPS in games. You can now even hear about 120 FPS in some games. New upgrades, new content, new games, especially the one that is the most intriguing for me personally is From Software game that is going to be available only on Nintendo. It's pretty much the same as they did with the Bloodborne and the platform that it's been released on. Now they do the same with the Dusk Bloods. That's the name of new From Software game on Nintendo. Some people think that it's the sequel for Bloodborne, and some people call it Bloodborne 2 already because the graphics, the art, and the style of the game really resembles Bloodborne. Together with that, they also implemented a new feature. A lot of people call it Discord on Nintendo, where you can share your screen and play together with your friends. And the game does not have to be the same, like y'all can play different games and share it with each other. However, if you watched the presentation, you've probably noticed that the FPS of sharing screens, especially of your friends' ones, it's very low. If you put the sharing screen of your friend playing the game on Nintendo and a GIF next to it, you won't spot the difference. More than that, they also added a lot of cool technical features to the console. For example, you can separate controllers as always and use them as mouses for playing different type of games. Some games where you have to shoot, you can aim with this mouse basically. So in general, the amount of features added to Nintendo Switch 2 together with games and games content is quite big. However, a lot of people dislike the fact that they basically washed all those features with raising prices for the games. Nintendo has announced the Switch 2 will release on June 5th for $450, with games priced at $80 for digital and $90 for physical cartridges. Now, what they mean by physical cartridges, it's not what they used to be a while back. Now, what it means is that you basically buy a two-factor identifier and use it to download the game on your Nintendo. So you basically don't own the physical copy. You own some sort of a key that allows you to download the game from the internet. So to me, buying physical copy in that case is quite pointless. This price increase follows a previous $10 hike 5 years ago. Despite consumer concerns over high prices, Nintendo justifies the increase with additional game content. So as we discussed in GTA 6 price predictions, a lot of people are willing to pay higher price for games if they are provided with more content, and more than content if the game is actually good. Some people are actually ready to pay higher prices in case they don't have to buy anything else in the store for the game, which basically means one-time purchase. However, there are only some people who are willing to pay higher price for games. For example, here's a graph I found on Twigtown about how much are gamers willing to pay for new AAA games. And it says that 68% voted that games should be $60 max, 23% for $70 only in special cases, 5% use subscriptions, and 5% say that $70 is fine. And all that basically shows that people are still not ready to pay higher prices for games. However, as we discussed in the previous video about GTA 6 prices, it seems like the whole gaming industry is waiting on somebody to raise prices just in order for them to also raise prices. However, at the same time, most of the game developers are not willing to change anything about their games. So to put it simply, they're just waiting on making more money out of the same content that they used to make. And together with games, as we already noticed, Nintendo announced the Switch 2 will arrive on June 5th for $450, which is higher than most analysts had predicted. So basically prices are raised not only for games, but also for the console itself. And even though some might say, especially Nintendo might say that the prices are justified, I guess all we can do right now is to wait on how gamers are gonna react to such prices and hopefully see the statistics of how games perform with higher prices. However, speaking about the whole gaming industry in general, I hope game developers will understand that people are gonna be willing to pay higher prices for their product only when they will feel that the value that they receive for a higher price is justified. That would be much better if you pay only once for the game and you have no in-game purchases at all, no microtransactions and all that stuff, because if they're gonna be selling the same value for a higher price, it would just make no sense. And together with that, if they're gonna keep putting more microtransactions in games or adding more stuff to sell in games, that would just basically ruin gaming experience. So in general, the gaming industry situation right now looks like it's on a breaking point where all the game developers are wishing to make more money out of games, and at the same time there are gamers who are very tired of low effort content put out by game developers, together with all the microtransactions and stuff that the game developers used to sell in the games. In my opinion, if game developers do it right, they raise prices maybe, but they start to provide the desired value to gamers, it might actually work to their hand. However, this will definitely put all the other game developers to disadvantage, because other game developers who are not willing to put more value into their product will simply lose their audience. Again, to put it simply, how I see it from gamers' point of view is that if the prices are going to be higher, I'm going to be expecting more value for that price. But at the same time, this will make me more selective in which product I'm going to buy. So instead of thinking twice, I'm going to be thinking 4 times before buying a certain game. And it will be very bad for me as a gamer if I buy a product and I'm not satisfied with it. Because in that case, that game developer lost their client for a long time. The next time this game developer put out something, I'm going to be thinking instead of 4 times, 10 times or even 20 times before I buy it. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to discuss related to Nintendo Switch 2 presentation and their product and new prices on their games. That's gonna be very interesting to see how it develops. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video if you liked it, and I'm out of here. See ya.